Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second edition of Kickoff Conversations. My name is Zach.
My name is Jaden.
And we are here to bring you all the in-depth information of the wildcard weekend from the NFL and next week's divisional round.
So last night, Monday night, wrapped up the wildcard round. We saw the Vikings and the Rams head to Arizona to play each other. So we're going to go over all four wildcard games for you guys right here on this episode.
99 yards for the touchdown. Unbelievable.
Let's get right into it, starting with the Saturday games. The first game of the wildcard weekend was one that shocked many around the country. The Texans beating the Chargers by 20.
Yeah, that game, that definitely shocked me. I know we both predicted in the first episode that the Chargers were going to take that one. The surplus of injuries on the side of Houston kind of just made me personally believe, I know it made a lot of other people believe also, that the Chargers were going to be able to take this one, especially how legit they looked this year.
Absolutely. And I mean, it just wasn't a normal game from Justin Herbert, who threw 3 interceptions all season during the 17 games, and then threw 4 against the Texans.
Definitely not the way you want to go. C.J. Stroud looked amazing in this game.
He did.
Him and Nico Collins, they link up. It's really an advantage for Houston that they have 3 wide receiver ones on one team. So, you see Diggs go out pretty, early in the season, and Tank Dell stepped up. Nico Collins also stepped up, but more in a wide receiver 2 type of role. And then you see Tank Dell go down, and the Houston Texans were still able to compete in the playoffs with just Nico Collins, because that's a true wide receiver 1, in my opinion.
And this was a 6-0 lead for the Chargers most of the first half, and the turning point in this one was when C.J. Stroud fumbled the snap, had to scramble right, almost had to go out of bounds, and then ends up throwing it about 30 yards down the field for about a 40-yard completion. That was just the turning point in the game for me. Houston just never slowed down from there. Herbert ended up throwing a pick 6, almost 2. It just kind of fell apart for the Chargers. They chargered.
Yeah, pretty much. Just not a pretty game. Maybe next season.
Maybe. They got a lot better, man. You go from 6 wins to having 11 wins in one season.
Yeah, and that has a lot to do with Harbaugh taking over as well. I feel like they've always just kind of needed that true coach who he will ride for his players. I feel like they've kind of been missing that when they had Stanley. But yeah, I believe next season the Chargers will come back and hopefully be better than this, because this was a bit of an embarrassing showing. But only time can tell.
Absolutely.
Then moving on, the second game on Saturday saw the Baltimore Ravens take on the Pittsburgh Steelers in Baltimore. Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson absolutely took over this game. The Steelers were never really in it. Kind of the outcome that everybody expected. If you pick the Steelers to win, you're either a Steelers fan or
you just don't like Baltimore.
Yeah, pretty much. Not a great showing from Russell Wilson. 270 passing yards. Most of that came in the second half. They did score twice. George Pickens had a touchdown. Van Jefferson had a touchdown. Pickens actually fell. I'm pretty sure he either fell backwards into the end zone or he celebrated in some type of way, even though it was still a 2-score game.
Yeah.
Not going to go too deep into that. We all know that
Pickens is just... Yeah. He's just going to do that.
We know who he is. Pickens will Pickens. But, my final thoughts on this game is just same old Steelers.
Same old Steelers. And on the Ravens side, Lamar Jackson was 16 for 21 with 175 passing yards and 81 rushing yards. Derrick Henry, an incredible game. 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, just doing Derrick Henry type things even at his age. It's just incredible.
It is pretty crazy.
They're going to be a scary team to beat, or a scary team to face, hard team to beat, for sure.
This game coming up in Buffalo is going to be a good one.
It will be, absolutely. And that'll wrap up the Saturday games. On Sunday, we saw the Denver Broncos head into Buffalo for their first game in 9 or 10 years, since the 2015 Super Bowl, I believe, where they won that. Denver scored on their third play of the game, and then didn't score after that.
No. 31 unanswered points for Buffalo, showing their domination in full effect, honestly. Some people were questioning them coming into this game, saying, Denver's defense is going to do this, Denver's defense is going to do that. But at the end of the day, it was actually Buffalo's defense that took over this game and kind of made them look like a true contender. After they gave up the bomb to Troy Franklin, after that, it was really nothing.
Yeah.
Funny moment, DeMar Hamlin thought he caught an interception and took his helmet off. And
celebrated, went into the crowd.
Did just about everything.
And then it got called back as an incomplete pass.
Pretty brutal there, but, that's what it's about, I guess.
Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things, 20 for 26 with 272 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns. Also 46 yards on the ground. I mean, how do you stop this guy? I don't think you really can right now. He's playing out of this world at the moment.
Nope.
Again, when they play Baltimore next week, it's going to be two of the top guys in the league going at each other, and one of them's going to fall, unfortunately.
Yeah. There was a nice little link up in the end zone as well between Allen and Johnson. Ty Johnson, the running back, didn't see too much time during the regular season, but there was a play there. The offensive line gave Allen a lot of room. I think that's also a
fourth
big
down
factor.
as well.
Yes, I think that's a huge factor for Buffalo is what their offensive line is going to be able to do, because sacks, as we saw in the Minnesota game last night, we'll get to that later, but sacks can really take you out of a game just because it backs you up so much and your quarterback is taking a hit. So the healthier that your quarterback is, the less hits that he's taking. Obviously, Josh Allen does take hits, but he's a big body. He's taking those hits on his own.
He likes to do it.
Yeah, but if he's taking hits in the backfield, just when he's looking for a target to throw to, that's not usually ideal for a quarterback. And teams that get sacked a lot, they don't really perform well. I would know. I'm a Browns fan, but the offensive line being able to keep it open. Allen finding Ty Johnson in the end zone, incredible catch.
Yeah,
managed to keep both feet out.
Inbounds.
Yeah, inbounds. But I just wanted to highlight that play because I thought that was a really
really good play. And then Denver, as we know, didn't really do too much. Bo Nix, 13 for 22 with 144 yards. I mean, I believe 63 of those were on the first drive and the first 3 plays. So, they did.
Can't discredit him though. He had a hell of a season.
He did.
I'm looking forward to what he can do.
Absolutely. Hopefully Denver can pick up another wide receiver in the offseason.
Yeah, that would definitely benefit them.
Second game of Sunday, we had the Packers go into Philadelphia, and I kind of personally felt like this game was over when it started. The fumble to start the game, which I think should have been a penalty. I think should have been head-to-head contact.
Right.
But, I mean, it wasn't called, so whatever. It is what it is. Philadelphia took a 13-point lead into the third quarter and never gave it up.
No. This game, to me personally, was just a little bit boring to watch. I think I watched the first 3 quarters, and then after that,
I think my dad and I went to the grocery store during this game.
Yeah, this one was pretty boring. I mean, if you know ball, you knew what the outcome was going to be. Once again, same thing with the Steelers. The only people who are picking the Packers were either people who are true Jordan Love believers or are Packers fans. Mm-hmm. This one really wasn't close. There was no super standout performers. Saquon Barkley, of course, had a great game. Jahan Dotson caught a touchdown. Jalen Hurts, to me, he needs to look a little better if I want to see Philly as a true contender, which is crazy to say because they just won a playoff game. But obviously, if they're winning without Jalen Hurts, then it's the other side of the ball, the defense. They looked amazing. Picked off Jordan Love 3 times. Just never really made it look competitive at any point during the game.
Yeah. And I mean, Jordan Love only having 131 passing yards today kind of actually surprised me considering how much time he had in the pocket. And to throw 8 incompletions and only 13 completions. For the amount of time this guy has in the pocket, it's actually kind of ridiculous. I feel like a guy like Baker or even Sam Darnold or even Tua Tagovailoa, I feel like they would perform way better than Jalen Hurts in this type of offense.
I honestly agree with that, especially with the deep ball threats. It's kind of crazy that he's not taking advantage more of the A.J. Browns and
Devonta Smith.
Yeah, he needs to look way downfield.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the frustration earlier on in the season with A.J. Brown is that Jalen Hurts wasn't finding him when he was open deep because, he just likes to throw to Saquon.
Yeah. And, I mean, A.J. Brown only had 1 reception. He had 3 targets, so probably an upsetting day for him, but he'll be wanting revenge on Sunday when they face the Rams.
Yes. Our third and final game was Washington heading into Tampa Bay, and just as I predicted, they came out on top with the last-second field goal. Zach, what are your thoughts on that?
Zane Gonzalez was stressing, man. This guy's going through his hair. He's like, oh my god, he tried to put on his helmet 4 or 5 times. He was stressing, and then he hits the upright. It goes in. Reminds me of when the Chiefs clinched the division in Week 15 against the Chargers. the doinking in from like 30 out. I mean, you can't make it up.
No, you really can't. Watching that play, that was like the most locked in that I've been to a football game in quite some time, honestly. That was such a fun game.
Yep.
The last not the last second, but the game tying touchdown from Terry McLaurin.
Yes.
That had me on my feet. Honestly,
Yep.
It was a great play. Jaden Daniels looks legit to me. But yeah, the last second field goal, Zane Gonzalez. I saw his wife post something on Instagram, and she was like, "Oh, everybody's making fun of my husband, but he's just an OCD."
Oh yeah.
Girly or something. I'm like, how do you? I don't know. If I'm him, I'm kind of pissed off about that. But you hit the kick, man. Good for you.
Got the kick.
That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Tampa Bay, I don't want to say had it in their hands, but they had 2 fourth quarter fumbles.
Oh my goodness.
Which potentially cost them a trip to Philly.
And they committed the pass interference to get it to the 1. They backed them all the way up. Committed, in my opinion, what was another pass interference, but the refs probably didn't feel like giving it to the Commanders just because, you had your chance, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I don't know what goes through a referee's head. But then, karma is a real thing, ladies and gentlemen. Ball does not lie. Buccaneers fumbled, and Washington went on to take advantage.
Yep, exactly.
And that was literally the turning point of the whole game right there.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels had a great game, 24 for 35 with 268 passing yards. Baker Mayfield only 15 for 18.
Yeah.
Mike Evans with 7 of those receptions for almost 100 yards.
And, while 15 of 18 can be effective if you throw for enough yards, 185, obviously not enough to win the game.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see, because Baker's a guy who likes to throw the ball, I'd like to see him get more chances to throw the ball. I'd like to see them take more risks on deep shots. Because that was what their identity was. Their identity was a risk-taking team that, always came out on top. They're gritty, they're hard. So I think that they need to continue on that path if they want to do anything in the future.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm excited to see Tampa next year. They're going to have Bucky Irving, who's still pretty young, Mike Evans, hopefully Chris Godwin returns. They're going to be a fun team to watch next year.
They definitely will be.
And heading into our final game, our Monday night game, the Vikings went into Arizona to face the Los Angeles Rams and lost 27-9.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what to say, man.
I'm speechless about this one. I mean, this was honestly just not a good game for a good team.
No, this was a great game from Los Angeles' defense.
Yeah.
I mean, Jared Verse had the touchdown that we'll talk about a little bit later. Yeah. Kobe Durant, Bryce Young, yeah. Byron Young, sorry. Right. Byron Young had a good game. Honestly, the whole Rams defensive line just ate up last night.
And they love to blitz.
Yeah.
The Vikings do. They love to blitz, and they did it to perfection last night, in my opinion. What was it? How many sacks did they have?
Vikings or the Rams?
They had 9 sacks. The Rams had 9 sacks. The Vikings, they blitzed. Oh, sorry, I said the Vikings.
Yeah.
I meant the Rams love to blitz, and they did it pretty well last night. That's the best that I've seen their defense truly perform.
Yeah.
Without, Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. So heading into a new kind of era of Rams football, this kind of proves to me that they're a legit threat.
Yep.
I mean, however they perform next week will truly solidify it. But this regular season was amazing for them, as well as it was for Minnesota. But Minnesota just didn't execute on any form of the game this week.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate because they had a great season.
They did, and I hope that Sam Darnold still gets that contract that he deserves. He had a great regular season, just couldn't perform under the brightest lights, unfortunately.
That's what might inevitably get him over there because, that's what teams are trying to do at the end of the day, right?
Yep.
They're trying to get to the playoffs. They're trying to perform in the playoffs, and if you can't be the guy to get them there, then it's right out the front door.
Exactly. Alrighty, so our first play of the week is the Ladd McConkey 85-yard touchdown, I believe. 86-yard touchdown. Herbert fires it down the middle, and, I mean, it looks like the Minneapolis Miracle, where the safety just didn't tackle McConkey. He was trying to hit him early or something. This, honestly, could have been a turning point for the Chargers. Yeah. It wasn't. The Texans ended up going to score, I believe, on the next drive, or Herbert threw a pick, probably. What a catch by McConkey. He's going to be so good next year.
He is going to be really great.
Yeah.
That defense right there, though, is just that's a great example of ball hawking.
Yeah.
At its lowest.
Yep. Next up, we've got the Jared Verse 57-yard fumble return as he gets strip sacked, and I mean,
he's
just gone off to the races.
No, nobody's even close.
No.
He's hugging the sideline. Hey, good effort though.
This could have been a much different game if that Stafford fumble that ended up becoming an incomplete pass had been returned for a touchdown. Instead, now the Rams take 3-possession lead pretty much at this point.
That play is going to look controversial, but in my opinion, he did throw it.
Yeah,
he definitely threw that ball.
I think he threw it, but I think it also could have been intentional grounding.
I also agree with that, actually. That's what I thought it was going to get called. But, like I said, I'm not an NFL referee. They're going to make the calls how they want to make the calls. Right here was one of the first big plays from the first game on Sunday. Boom, right there. Bo Nix, the former Oregon teammate, I should say, Troy Franklin, for the first score of the game. This was when I kind of saw everybody start to overreact and think that Buffalo was burnt.
I was one of those.
It was 2.5 minutes into the game. It was definitely, it was a huge play. It was a massive play. Just a phenomenal play. You'll see kind of right here how he gets to where he goes.
He just torches the defense, torches the top there. Great play.
Great play.
And here we've got the first Justin Herbert pick six of the season.
Just not a good throw. Way over McConkey's head there.
You can see he pump fakes.
Yeah.
If he doesn't pump fake there, he probably gets it on target, but he might have just overthought it. And I mean, that's a tough one for McConkey. I mean, sometimes the receiver will make that play, but I mean, you overthrow him like that, you can't really expect him to.
Yeah, right. You can't just throw it over a receiver's head, especially not a rookie receiver like McConkey. And just, first playoff game, you can't expect him to make every single perfect read and, be geared up for that. Also kind of surprised that was a pick six, though.
Yeah.
Our final play here is another one from the Buffalo versus Denver game. Josh Allen, he's going to take the snap right here, and he's just going to loop it over the top. He's going to find Curtis Samuel on the right side of the field. He's going to juke too, and he's going to go.
Break out of a tackle
as well.
Yep, and that was on potential defensive player of the year, Patrick Surtain.
Yep, Pat Surtain, cornerback one, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Just I don't even know what happened there. You can see, they're going to show you the replay here. He just kind of stops his feet. He outran him, and then you can see right here he just kind of stops his feet, which is usually not the play, especially not if you have backup there. Definitely could have stopped that one, but great play by Curtis Samuel.
Yep. Now we will get on to our divisional round picks. Last week I went 3 for 3 in the wild card round. How about yourself?
I went 4 and 2. That Commanders pick definitely took me over the hump there.
Absolutely. The first game we've got on our schedule is the Texans going to the number 1 seeded Chiefs in the AFC on Saturday at 4:30. Some inactives or potentially not active for the game. Shaq Mason is questionable. Isaiah Pacheco as well, but is expected to play. McCole Hardman, Juwan Taylor are both questionable for the game. And Chris Jones and Jalen Watson on the Chiefs' defense are both expected to play.
Now, I think that despite all of the inactives, the possible inactives that are on the Chiefs' side, even if they don't play, I got the Chiefs. Houston did do it without some top players, but I don't think that they get it done again. That was also against the Chargers. The Chiefs are a different team. In order to beat the Chiefs, you have to be like top of the top. I'm taking the Chiefs.
I mean, there are only 2 quarterbacks in NFL history that have beaten Mahomes in the playoffs, and it's Brady and Burrow, and neither of them are in this year's playoffs. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs here. I don't know if... you can't see. Those are my Chiefs jerseys over there. I'm wearing my Jays stuff today, but whatever. Obviously, I'll be going for the Chiefs. That's my team. I don't think that there's even a doubt that we lose this. I mean, the last time we faced the Texans in the playoffs, we were down 24-0 and ended up coming back and winning by 20. I don't think there's anything that's going to slow this team down at any point. It might be another close win, but a win is a win. It's how we've been winning all year. And, I think the Chiefs win it. I'm not going to do a score prediction. I was going to do a score prediction. I'm not going to do a score prediction.
It's risky. Too risky. And our second matchup we got is the Commanders heading to Detroit to take on the 1-seeded Lions coming off of the bye. Some inactives or possible inactives are Austin Seibert, David Montgomery, who's questionable, but he may play. Deron Payne, Terrion Arnold, and Aiden Hutchinson, who is still on pace to return for the Super Bowl.
I think that'd be such a cool story for
so,
Aiden
too.
Hutchinson, who went out halfway through the season in Dallas with a broken fibula or tibula. And then if he could come back for the Super Bowl, that would be just such a cool story for all of Detroit. And if they end up winning that, I mean, he'd be a hero for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to go Lions on this one. I did have the Commanders last week, but I think right here that the Lions defense is just much better than the Commanders not the Commanders defense, sorry. They are much better than the Commanders defense in my opinion, but they're also much better than the Buccaneers defense. So yeah, I'm going to take the Lions here to get it done.
Absolutely, and I agree with you there, Jaden. I'm going to take the Lions as well. I just think Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra, I mean, all those guys, even Tim Patrick, Jamison Williams, I mean, they've just had such a good connection all year, and the Lions just don't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. I mean, even if in that Week 18 matchup against Minnesota, they ran up the score there. Jahmyr Gibbs had 4 touchdowns, an incredible game from him. I think Detroit could go all the way potentially this year. Jane Daniels has had a great season, but it's going to come to an end in Detroit.
I'm excited to see Dan Campbell versus Dan Quinn head coaching
Absolutely,
matchup.
yeah.
That's going to be very, very interesting.
Very
what kind of cards they pull out. Because they're two head coaches who love to play chess, no matter what the circumstances are. So I'm definitely excited to see this matchup. I think it's going to be a pretty good one. But yeah, I have the Lions. The offense and the defense just seem to be too trifling for me. Yeah, I'm excited to see what Jared Goff does here against a pretty good defense that the Commanders have.
Absolutely. And then our first game on Sunday will be the Rams heading into Philadelphia to face the Eagles. And honestly, hot take, I think the Rams are going to walk out of there with a win.
You know, I'm actually going to agree with you. I see that these red-hot Rams are serious. They proved me wrong last night. Obviously, Sean McVay is a hell of a head coach, and Matthew Stafford is a hell of a quarterback. But that defense stepped up and truly showed that they're a hell of a defense. So I'm actually going to take them over the less than impressive Eagles.
Absolutely. And I mean, Jalen Hurts just hasn't been doing all that these past few games. I mean, that concussion, that finger, they might be affecting him subtly, like just behind the scenes, whatnot. And I mean, 9 sacks from the Rams defense last night. Absolutely incredible performance. Some potential inactives. Tyler Higbee left the game last night with a chest injury and is questionable to play. And Kello Witherspoon, who forced a fumble on the return 6 from Jared Verse, is also questionable. And Nakobe Dean, unfortunately, has a torn patellar.
How was a patellar?
Don't know. But he will be out for the remainder of the season, unfortunately. That's a big loss for the Rams. But I still think they're going to come out there. They're going to go out to Philly, and they're going to get it done.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think that on both sides of the ball, the Rams have looked better as of late, and I think they'll continue to look better.
And imagine if we get another Stafford-Goff game in Detroit.
Goodness.
What an NFC Championship game that would be.
Absolute cinema. That's what they say.
That's scriptwriters. How about it?
And our Sunday night game, we'll see the Ravens head into Buffalo to take on the Bills. And for this one, Zay Flowers, of course, the Pro Bowler, and Ray Davis will be inactive. So each side loses a player there. I'm taking the Ravens here. Despite heading into Buffalo, you know how the Bills are at home. And in the playoffs at home, of course. But I'm just going to take the Ravens here. I think that their run game is excellent. Despite losing Zay Flowers, they still seemed pretty consistent in the air against the Steelers. And, yeah, that's about all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson are just an incredible duo. But I don't think they're enough to match up against Josh Allen. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to defeat the Baltimore Ravens and head into the AFC Championship game. I mean, Josh Allen, he's not the MVP this year, but he's been playing at an MVP level. He's been playing amazing all year despite losing his top 2 receivers in Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs this past offseason. He's just been playing incredible. I mean, also running back James Cook has been incredible. Their defense has been incredible. Locked down after the first 2.5 minutes after allowing that touchdown against Denver. And I mean, they're in Buffalo. It doesn't get any better than that. I went to the Bills-Chiefs game in Buffalo this year. It was an incredible atmosphere. The Ravens, I'm sure that they know how to adapt to it, but will they? I don't think so. I think Buffalo will come out of there with a win.
Thank you guys for tuning into episode 2 of Kickoff Conversations. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave us a comment, let us know your takes. We always want to read the comments. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week for the championship rounds.
Go Chiefs!
As always, I'm Jaden.
I'm Zach.
Peace out.
See ya.